JKB back with another episode. Today on the show I'm reviewing State of Decay 2, thank you to Xbox Canada for sending over the review copy. At this point in my life, I'm all but done with anything that involves zombies. The whole genre is dead to me, or at least that's what I thought. It seems Undead Labs, which is the studio that developed State of Decay 2, didn't put a bullet in the head of the idea that the zombie genre can still be interesting enough to play. So what's the magical idea that's going to get the zombie survival horror genre back up on its feet? The simple answer is going with an open world action game where you build up a community of survivors. The long answer is making a game with all that zombie action, but putting on top of it a resource management simulator. The game is set in a zombie apocalypse, and it's all on you to form a community of survivors. Each of the survivors has unique skills which can become very important as you expand your community in the game. You'll be forced into the open world to collect resources for your community. The community has 5 different types of resources. For example, you'll have to find food to bring back to your main safe house. This is an area on the map that's considered to be your home base. If you fail to bring back enough food for the people, they'll face starvation. I have to admit, since I never got into the first game, I was completely lost when it came to the resource management aspect of this game. I had to put in a solid 5 hours before I had the basic understanding of how to play the game and how it worked. You'll notice a few little areas in and around the safe house where you can build different add-ons that'll help you survive. For example, you can build a little garden that'll give you extra food, which will save you from finding it out in the open world. The map itself is blank when you start the game. You'll have to survey an area from a cell phone tower or even a billboard to reveal all the location icons around the map. You can open up the map to examine each of the icons to see what's available to loot in that section of the map. I highly recommend you plan out your adventures by using these tools in the game because I've left out one very important aspect of the game. If you die in the game, your character is dead. That's it. You'll have to switch to one of the remaining characters at the home base. There's one very interesting element of the game that I think a lot of people will overlook, and that's the radio. You'll have a radio on you at all times and it can be used to call for support. This means you can bring other people into the game from the online world. This is where the game will start to open up for a lot of people playing. The online aspect is one of the major selling points of the game. There's up to 4-player co-op. Friends can join the game at any time with characters from their communities. You can also invite strangers into your game as well. One of the things I've also not talked about is the game's currency, which is called influence in this game. You'll gain this currency by doing almost anything in the game. This can be as simple as running over a zombie with your car. If you join someone else's online game, these are the only XP points you'll gain from that experience. Since the game is massive in scale with the amount of things you can do, I'm going to quickly go over a few of them right now. When you enter a building on the map, you have to secure it by clearing out all of the zombies in each of the rooms. Once you've cleared the building out, it'll become a zone where no zombies can reappear. However, zombies can break through the door after you've cleared out any of these sections. Each of the characters can build any of the simple facilities at your home base, such as bedding. But for the advanced facilities and the upgrades, you'll need a special survivor with a special skill. Another game mechanic is the morale of your community. When the morale is low or high, it'll affect the way the community performs. You can improve the morale by satisfying each of the survivors' needs. I'm laughing because that's a sexual joke, but I'm not going to make it. In the game, there's a major disease known as the blood plague. If one of the members of your community gets infected by this and you don't have enough time to cure it, you can make the simple decision to kill that member of the community. Sometimes it's best to do this because nobody likes seeing somebody slowly die. And I mean, I'm being serious. If you don't cure the infected person in time, the morale will drop like a brick in the ocean and you'll have to do what needs to be done. And because I'm ruthless, I offed a few people, so what, sue me. Not only do you have to deal with the zombies, but there's also something called plague hearts in the game. These are giant mounds of meat that seem to be kind of the focal point of the blood plague itself. The area around them will always be teeming with zombies. Without giving too many details away, I'll say I played the game on 2 different maps. and I enjoyed both of the different experiences I had on each of these maps. The interesting part is the fact that both of these were completely different. In one, I started the game with tons of guns and ammo, and in the other one, I didn't. This did change the way I played the game for at least 5 hours, because at some point you'll come across a gun shop or even a group of characters that want to trade items with you. When I started the game, I saw some of the red flags that usually tell me a game is not going to be that great. I've been playing on the Xbox One X in both 4K HDR and in 1080p with HDR on, and I've noticed frame rate issues in both of these modes. Actually, I've noticed a lot of things I didn't like about the game. I think it's best that I just jump into the pros and cons right now. I'm going to start with the cons. I can save us all a lot of time by simply saying this: the game looks, controls, and performs poorly. Visually speaking, this is years behind everything else we see coming out these days. The controls are clunky and unresponsive at times. There's glitches that cause you to get stuck in the environment, and I swear I was playing a game from last generation. The frame rate seems to be around 30 frames per second no matter which resolution you play this game in. The combat isn't great, the aiming isn't great, the throwable weapons are absolutely horrid to use because you have no indication on how far you can toss them, so you'll probably end up killing yourself using grenades. Pacing is usually a little more structured in these types of games because you've got so many things to focus on, but here it's all one giant mess. I mean, you can figure it out over time, but I feel the UI could have been a little more helpful. Co-op is definitely fun in the game, but not very rewarding since it doesn't really affect your community and your home base with any of your save files. Some people may say the game is very repetitive, but I'm not going to knock the game for being that way, so I'm just going to jump into the pros to explain why. Even with all of these problems, I still had a blast playing this game. I've thought about this for about a week, and it all comes down to the future. And what the hell do I mean by that? Well, I mean that the game is designed to constantly push you into the future. You simply can't stand around and shoot zombies. You have to explore, you have to build, you have to collect. That's where this game shines. You'll feel this need to want to explore just one more building. You'll want to finish just one more mission, all just because you want to feel that rewarding feeling that great game design can give you. It's the gameplay loop that's addictive, and the designers knew this from the start. How many games have you played in the past that kept you awake at night thinking about what you needed to do next in that game? As I've said in the past, sometimes there's games that have horrible issues, but you can overlook those issues because the rest of the game is spectacular, and this is a prime example of that statement. I'm going to give State of Decay 2 a solid 7 out of 10 because it's worth playing. I'm not sure how long you will play it, but it's worth picking up and figuring that out. The good news here is it's on Game Pass, so you can try it out for a month without spending all the money to get the full version of the game. I can see a die-hard group of fans for this game, and I'm happy to say that. I'm happy for these people. If you've been waiting for State of Decay 2, you'll be slightly disappointed with many of the technical issues of the game, but overall you'll think this was a step in the right direction for the genre. It has never been my job to tell you every single detail of a game that I review. It's my job to simply tell you if you should either buy a game or wait for a discount, or hell, even just buy a game to burn it in a fire. My job is to give you my opinion, and then you form your own opinion on my opinion. If I was into the detail of every aspect of State of Decay 2, we'd be here until Part 3 came out in 4 years. There's a blast to be had here, even if it takes 40 hours to be realized. It's worth your time if you can overlook its flaws. I'll see you on the next episode of JKB.